While I was treating my friends to dinner, I suddenly asked a very strange question. How do you make a dead person eat food? That question sounded ridiculous, but it had been troubling the police for days because of a recent murder case. Undigested fried rice was found in the victim's stomach. That clue directly affected the estimated time of death, which made me start wondering if a dead person could eat. The former top forensic pathologist John, sitting across from me, then calmly gave his answer. Lift the victim's jaw, make it look like they are chewing, then use a long stick to slowly push the food into the stomach. I got the knowledge I was looking for, but instead it made my suspicion even stronger, because anyone who could describe this method so clearly was himself the biggest suspect. And that was actually my other reason for coming tonight. I found John's car in traffic surveillance footage, appearing near the crime scene multiple times before and after the murder. So I suspected John was deeply involved in the case. At first everything seemed normal. John was calm, rational, and composed. But when it came time to raise a glass for a toast, I noticed his right hand could barely hold the glass steady. That was when I learned John had developed kidney failure 4 years ago. And in that exact moment, all the scattered clues and contradictions in my head suddenly connected perfectly. First was the timeline. The Snowman serial murders began 4 years ago. Second was his physical condition. The killer showed signs of weakness in the later crimes, which perfectly matched the symptoms of kidney failure. And finally, his professional skill. Perfectly staging crime scenes and misleading forensic analysis were abilities only a top-level forensic expert like John would have. The more I thought about it, the more wrong it felt. So to verify my suspicion, after the dinner ended, I went to the hospital where John received treatment. Sure enough, the nurse on duty gave me 2 key clues. First, on the night Jack was killed, John, who was supposed to come in for dialysis, suddenly took the night off, and missing that session almost caused his condition to worsen severely. Second was a strange medical detail. Patients usually place an IV port in their non-dominant hand for convenience in daily life, but John always insisted on placing it in his right hand. This choice that went against common sense suddenly made perfect sense to me, because John is left-handed. And another detail repeatedly recorded by the police at the crime scenes now echoed perfectly with that fact. All the Snowman cases clearly pointed to one thing. The killer always used his left hand. Once I locked the Snowman's identity onto John, every chaotic clue finally made sense. The framing and interference in Jack's case, the cold precision of the Snowman murders, all became logical because the killer was a top forensic expert, and I knew exactly how terrifying Jack was. He was a master of both criminal investigation and counter-investigation. Physical evidence was almost useless against him, and his psychological defenses were nearly unbreakable. So I decisively changed my battlefield and shifted my focus to Tony and Annie, who were also suspects.